Dragons are the oldest monsters in human storytelling. They appear in nearly every culture on Earth, separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years. And yet the stories are almost always the same. Something enormous, something ancient, something that existed before humans did and resented the fact that we showed up. In the oldest myths, dragons weren't obstacles for heroes. They were the reason the world needed heroes in the first place. These are the most disturbing dragon myths ever told. Tiamat is the oldest dragon in recorded history. She appears in the Babylonian creation epic, the Enuma Elish, written over 3,000 years ago. Tiamat was the primordial goddess of the Salt Sea, a dragon of limitless size who existed before the earth, the sky, or any of the gods. When the younger gods grew loud and chaotic, Tiamat decided to destroy them. She spawned an army of monsters to wage war, serpents with venom for blood, storm demons, scorpion creatures, and fishmen built for killing. Every army the gods sent against her failed. Finally, Marduk, the youngest god, rode out alone and killed her by driving the winds into her open mouth until her body split apart. He used one half to build the sky and the other to build the earth. The ground you walk on, according to the Babylonians, is the corpse of a dragon. The world wasn't created. It was carved out of something that tried to kill everything first. Typhon was the last and greatest monster in Greek mythology. He was the son of Gaia, the earth itself, and she created him specifically to punish Zeus for what he did to the Titans. Typhon was so tall, his head scraped the stars, and instead of fingers, he had 100 dragon heads, each one spitting fire and screaming in a different animal voice. When Typhon rose from the earth, every god on Olympus ran. They fled to Egypt and disguised themselves as animals to hide. Only Zeus stayed. The two fought a battle that shook the planet. Typhon ripped the tendons from Zeus's hands and legs and left him helpless in a cave. The king of the gods had to be rescued by Hermes before he could fight again. Zeus eventually buried Typhon under Mount Etna, and the ancient Greeks believed the volcano's eruptions were the dragon still thrashing beneath the rock. He was never killed. He's still down there. Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent of Norse mythology, was so enormous that it wrapped around the entire earth and held its own tail in its mouth. It lay coiled at the bottom of the ocean, and as long as it stayed in that position, the world held together. The god Thor encountered the serpent 3 times. Once it was disguised as a cat, and Thor, the strongest of all the gods, could barely lift one of its paws off the ground. The second time, Thor hooked the serpent on a fishing line and nearly pulled it to the surface before his terrified companion cut the line. The final meeting is prophesied to happen at Ragnarok, the end of everything. Thor will kill Jormungandr with his hammer, walk 9 steps, and collapse dead from its venom. The serpent and the god destroy each other. In Norse mythology, the dragon doesn't lose. It takes the strongest god in existence down with it, and the world ends anyway. Níðhöggr lives beneath the world tree Yggdrasil, the structure that holds together all 9 realms of Norse existence. While every other creature in Norse mythology fights, or feasts, or waits for Ragnarok, Níðhöggr does something quieter and far worse. It chews. Day after day, age after age, it gnaws at the roots of the world tree, slowly eating the foundation of reality itself. A squirrel named Ratatoska runs up and down the trunk, carrying insults between Níðhöggr and the eagle that sits at the top, keeping the hatred alive. Between meals and the roots, the dragon feeds on the corpses of the dishonorable dead, murderers and oathbreakers who were sent beneath the tree to rot. When Ragnarok finally comes and everything burns, Níðhöggr is one of the only creatures described as surviving. It flies over the ruined battlefield, carrying corpses in its claws. The world ends, and the thing that was eating it from the inside the entire time is the one that walks away. Yamata no Orochi was an 8-headed serpent from Japanese mythology. Each head could think independently, and the creature was so large that forests grew on its back and its body stretched across 8 valleys and 8 hills. Every year, an elderly couple was forced to sacrifice one of their daughters to the beast. By the time the storm god, Susanoo, arrived, they were down to their last child. Susanoo set out 8 vats of sake, one for each head. The serpent drank from all of them, passed out, and Susanoo hacked it apart while it slept. When he cut open the tail, he found a sword embedded inside the flesh. Kusanagi no Tsurugi, one of the 3 imperial treasures of Japan. The weapon that defines Japanese sovereignty was pulled from the body of a monster. Zmej Gorynych comes from Slavic folklore, a dragon with 3 heads that each breathed fire independently. It terrorized villages across Russia, Ukraine, and the surrounding regions, burning crops, stealing women, and poisoning rivers with its blood. What makes Zmej Gorynych disturbing isn't the destruction, it's the intelligence. In most Slavic stories, the dragon speaks, bargains, and lies. It makes deals with humans and breaks them. It understands fear and uses it deliberately. The hero Dobrynya Nikitic fought the dragon for 3 days and 3 nights before finally cutting off all 3 heads. But in some versions of the story, the heads grow back and the fight never truly ends. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent of Aztec mythology, was not evil. That's what makes it disturbing. Quetzalcoatl was a creator god, a bringer of knowledge, wind, and learning. He gave humanity corn, the calendar, and the arts. But in Aztec belief, creation required sacrifice. The gods bled themselves to make the world, and humans were expected to bleed in return. The feathered serpent existed inside a system where the sun would stop moving if it wasn't fed human hearts. Quetzalcoatl didn't demand cruelty. He existed inside a universe where cruelty was the cost of existence. The most unsettling dragon myth isn't the one where the monster destroys the world. It's the one where the monster built the world, and the price for keeping it running was blood. Every culture that ever looked at the sky, or the sea, or the ground beneath their feet invented a dragon to explain what they were afraid of. Some of those dragons were killed. Some were buried. Some are still waiting. Subscribe if you want to see every underworld in mythology explained next. And tell me in the comments which dragon myth disturbed you the most. I'll see you in that video.